We are the fourth. We are NC.
Royals baseball comes to you from Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. And after 6.5 inches of rain at the ballpark over the past 2 days, we have a beautiful sunny Sunday. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark. I'm Ryan Lefevre. The Royals continue to struggle against the Minnesota Twins. They dropped a doubleheader yesterday. They are 4-10 against Minnesota this year, so they've lost the season series. They haven't won one against the Twins since 2003. And as we bring in Jeff Montgomery, Monty, the Royals are 7-23 against last place teams this year, yet 14-10 against first place teams.
Well, that's a very difficult answer on why that is the case, Ryan. One of the most asked questions to me over the last couple of days, why can't the Royals beat the Twins? Why can't they beat these teams at the bottom of the division? I think if you look at the Detroit Tigers, who just came in against the Royals swept them. The Royals have played really good baseball against the Chicago White Sox at the top of the division. So I think oftentimes one word to describe would be focus. I think it's important to really focus on teams regardless of where they are in the standings.
And Luis Mendoza's had that focus this year against the Twins, while most of the other starters have struggled against Minnesota. Mendoza's 2-1 with perhaps the best start of his career. By your Kansas City Chevy dealers, the official vehicle of the Kansas City Royals. And by the Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win. Joe Goldberg joins us when we come back.
round pick from 2007, David Lowe, making his debut last night. First major league hit, his first 2 big league hits, and Joe Mauer was there to congratulate him at first base. Mauer telling David Lowe, congratulations, heard a lot of great things about you, and a smile on both of their faces. Joel Goldberg back at Kauffman Stadium, and September roster is expanding, and just a couple of names so far coming up for the Royals, Lowe being one of them, and catcher Manny Pena returning to the big leagues too. But as for Lowe, coming from small Mercyhurst College in Pennsylvania, a couple of hits, and the 21st Ohio native to play for the Royals, joining the likes of Tim Belcher, Pat Borders, Dick Drago, Doug Mankiewicz, and our own Jeff Montgomery. He is back in the lineup today for Sunday baseball. It is the Royals and the Twins next on Fox Sports Kansas City.
Today's game is brought to you in high definition by Time Warner Cable, the official TV, internet, and home phone provider of the Kansas City Royals. And after all that rain, Kansas City looks greener today. At least it appears that way, driving into the ballpark today. And a beautiful bright blue sky overhead as the Royals try and avoid a sweep at the hands of the Minnesota Twins, who continue to give the Royals fits. After sweeping the doubleheader yesterday, Minnesota Twins now are 8-0-1 in season series with the Royals over the last 9 years. And here's Ron Gardenhire's lineup today. It does not include Trevor Plouffe. It does not include Josh Willingham. But Joe Mauer's in there. He had a grand slam in Game 2 yesterday. Justin Morneau had 2 RBIs in game one. And the Twins, while they've been giving the Royals fits, Luis Mendoza has been giving the Twins fits. He's 2-1 against them this year.
Yeah, he has thrown the ball well against the Twins, looking to get back on track. Talked to him about his last outing against the Detroit Tigers. He said he had kept the ball down nicely, but he was on the middle part of the plate, so he wants to move back to the edge of the plate. He didn't have good finish on his curve, so he really wants to get focused and concentrate on finishing off that curveball. And have to remember, it's the Twins. He's 2-1 against the Twins this year in 2 starts, so would like to remember it is the Twins.
And a look at the Royals defensively, brought to you by Ford.
David Lowe, second day in the big league, second start in the big league. So nice to see him out there. Tony Abreu with some really nice defense yesterday. A chance to do it again today. And Luis Mendoza on the hill with Salvador Perez behind the dish.
David Lowe making his big league debut. Not only did he get his first major league hit, he got his first 2 major league hits in game 2 of the doubleheader yesterday, including a base hit in his first major league at bat. So he's back in the leadoff spot for the Royals today, maybe feeling a little more comfortable in the big leagues today.
Yeah, it's a special day to make your debut, and after you get it all behind you, now it's time to start playing baseball, and that's what he's going to be looking to do today.
Back on June the 29th at Target Field, Luis Mendoza had perhaps the best start of his major league career. He went a career-high 8 innings. He did not walk a hitter, and he retired the last 13. And that was the only win the Royals had in a 4-game series in Minnesota. And that was that last trip right before the All-Star break. Remember, the Royals, if they could have gone 8-3, they would have finished at 500. They won game 1 behind Mendoza, and then the wheels came off. The Royals ended up going 3-8 on that trip. And now a strike to Ben Revere, 1 for 4 with a couple of runs yesterday, and Ben Revere is hitting .302. 1-1. Twins will get a long look at Ben Revere in center field as Denard Span is back on the disabled list with a shoulder injury. And there's been some talk that as the Twins try to rebuild, that Denard Span could be a player they could look at moving during the offseason, so they'd like to see Revere in center. 3 balls, 1 strike.
Yeah, I'm sure Rivera will get ample opportunity here as the season winds down the last month. As you mentioned, Span, a guy that probably would bring something as far as their need for starting pitching.
That hits the outside, 3-2. And the Twins have been waiting on Ben Revere. He was their first-round pick in 07. He was their minor league player of the year in 08. He was the minor league player of the year in 09. And he hits it on 1 hop out to Abreu. And a good start for Luis Mendoza, a ground ball out. It's going to get hot again into the low 90s today and the upper 90s tomorrow. 86 degrees at first pitch. We started at 1:13 Central Daylight Time. And the time and temp is brought to you by the parking spot at KCI.
Good chance we'll have a little humidity with the rain that fell yesterday, and that's great pitching weather.
Jamie Carroll played in game 1 yesterday and was 3 out of 4. He's at third base today, so Trevor Plouffe, who has 5 home runs against the Royals this season, he's on the bench, and Carroll drives it toward the left field corner. Alex cuts it off. Carroll wanted 2. He took a wide turn, but hitting the brakes was the right thing to do as Alex makes a perfect throw to second base. So that puts 1 on, 1 out for Joe Mauer coming up in the first inning. And here's what he did in the second inning of game 2 of the doubleheader.
The Twins have gone all year without a grand slam home run until this at-bat by Joe Mauer yesterday, and he got all of that over 400 feet.
It was just his 9th home run of the year. The Twins scored 2 runs in the first inning of game 1. They scored 4 runs in the first inning of game 2 and 4 more in the second inning. So that's 6 runs in the first and 10 runs in the first 2 innings yesterday. Jamie Carroll has 7 stolen bases this year. He's been thrown out 3 times.
All that early action forced the Kansas City bullpen into the games early yesterday. 10 1/3 innings, no runs for the Royals bullpen. So really nice job by the Royals bullpen.
And a good pitch over the outside. 1 ball, 1 strike on Maurer.
And that yesterday was the 22nd time this season the relievers have had to pitch more innings than the starting pitcher. So they did get their work in.
Change up is high and away. Well, you got a sinker ball pitcher who gets ground balls, and you got a hitter at the plate, a very good hitter, one of the elite in the American League, but he has grounded into 22 double plays, second most in the American League. And Maurer goes the other way. That will get all the way into the corner. Carroll to third base. He'll be held there, and Maurer has a double. And here come the Twins again with runners at second and third and 1 out in the first inning.
Royals playing him to pull, but he goes the other way, goes right down near the left field line. Stand up double at second base.
And Monty, that swing right there is what makes him so good, because most left-hand batters would try and pull that ball, and if they do, then Mendoza gets the ground ball that he wants.
And not only that, at times he will hit the ball on the ground the other way. The Royals yesterday had a big shift on against him that fortunately he hit a ball right to Mike Moustakas, started a really nice double play, so he has the ability to hit the ball on the ground that way as well.
And now 2 in scoring position for Justin Morneau. Morneau had 2 RBIs in game 1 of the doubleheader. Hit his 17th home run yesterday. He has driven in 66 runs, and he has 2 in scoring position here in the first. And he breaks his bat, hits it out to Abreu, so Minnesota will get 1 run as Carroll comes down from third. Maurer goes to third. And now the Minnesota Twins in this series have scored 7 runs in the first inning.
Well, Mendoza gets a pitch he wants, gets the ball down. Unfortunately, the bat almost gets him on the broken side, coming it right back at him. Morneau is able to drive in Carroll with a little ground ball to second base. Productive out.
And now switch hitting Ryan Domit. Ryan Domit earlier this year hit home runs from both sides of the plate against the Royals. And 1 hop back to Mendoza, and that is the inning. So the Twins get another first inning run. The Royals coming up against Esmerling Vasquez when we come back. first inning, and there's David Lowe getting ready to lead off for the Royals again today, as he did in Game 2 of the doubleheader yesterday, and went 2 for 4 in his first big league game. Lorenzo Cain will be in center field, as Gerard Dyson still bothered by that sore shoulder, and Tony Abreu for a second straight game. The Royals will get a look at him at second base, and they will be facing 28-year-old Esmerling Vasquez.
Ryan, he's making his first career start. He's pitched in relief 141 times in his career as a Diamondback. First opportunity to start in his first appearance as a Minnesota Twin. Take a look here at the Minnesota defense. A little different outfield alignment today, but Matt Carson in left rather than Josh Willingham. Got Jamie Carroll at third in place of Trevor Plouffe, and Ryan Domet behind the plate today, catching Esmerling Vasquez.
There's Parmalee. He had a 3-run home run in the second game of the doubleheader yesterday. So David Lowe, 2 for 5, couple of runs scored in his first big league game. Takes ball 1 from Vasquez. David Lowe, drafted by the Royals in 2007 in the 11th round out of Mercyhurst College. And I'll give you $1 if you can tell me where that is. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I know it's in Pennsylvania.
Well, there, I owe you $1. He's from Ohio, and 2012 was his 3rd straight year in AAA.
He has put in his time in AAA to get to the big leagues. Joel and I had a chance to visit with him. Nate Buchanan had him on the pregame show, and very excited young man.
Popped up, and Florimon goes out from short to retire Lowe. Well, it's interesting watching Vasquez, and you mentioned 141 relief appearances and making his first big league start, but he still pitches out of the stretch even with nobody on.
I think the reason he does that, I know I did that, although I was a relief pitcher, solely from the stretch, because it eliminates a lot of bad things that can happen if you go to the windup. Oftentimes you can get a little quick, your left side can fly open too early. You can really eliminate a lot of bad things by keeping it very simple, keeping it very compact when you pitch solely from the stretch position.
And you know, you getting ready to close games in your career, I would think too, you get warmed up a lot quicker when you're just worrying about pitching from the stretch and not the windup and the stretch.
You're right. Not a lot of moving parts. Just, again, keep it nice and compact and keep it simple.
The Royals as a team have faced Vasquez once, but that was back in 2009 when he was with the Diamondbacks. The Royals individually, there are only 2 in the lineup today who have faced him, and one of them is Escobar, who shoots it up the right field line, and Parmalee makes the play for the second out. But hardly any experience at all. That was just Escobar's second at bat. And Billy Butler has 1 at bat against Vasquez.
It will be a learning experience for the Royals hitter today, facing him for the first time for the most of these guys. Talked to Alex earlier today and asked him what he featured, and he said, well, I'm getting ready to learn that right now. So he didn't even have a scouting report on him earlier today.
And I'm sure Vasquez was spending some time trying to learn Alex Gordon, who has a 10-game hitting streak, hitting .299, 3 hits in the doubleheader yesterday, and his 59th RBI of the year. Now you look at his career numbers. I'm talking about Vasquez, and he has quite a few strikeouts. He doesn't allow many hits. His career opponent's batting average is just .244, so that's very good. But he also has a high number of walks. So at least for me, Monty, when I see those numbers, I assume right away he must have a strong arsenal of pitches, but just maybe not good command of those pitches.
Well, he throws a fastball, a curveball, and a changeup. He used to throw a slider, but he really kind of shelved that slider, I think probably just to focus on those 3 pitches. And you're right, he has had an issue with command, but he has a lot of life. And a lot of times pitchers who have a lot of life, especially in their fastball, they will be high in that walk column.
And he was all over the place pitching to Alex there. Up, down, in, away, and walks him on 4 pitches. And it brings up Billy Butler, still stuck on 99 career home runs, 25 this year. And he had a good day yesterday. 4 hits, a double, a walk, 3 runs scored, and an RBI in the doubleheader.
It's be a good time for Billy to get off the 99 mark. Turn the page to 100.
Now, you said something interesting last half inning. I would think on a hot, humid day, it's a good day to hit, but you say it's a good day to pitch.
Well, I think the ball carries nice when it's humid, but as far as a pitcher, especially a field pitcher, you can really get a good grip, and you can make that breaking ball a little tighter, make it break a little better. I just always love pitching in high humidity.
Get a little more moisture on your fingers, and
a lot of times the pitcher's using the rosin bag to try to keep his hands dry, but when it's wet like that, it just really makes it very tacky, very sticky, so it works really well.
way outside. And it required a good play by Domit just to keep the ball off the screen. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Billy, being a very patient hitter, likes to get a good look. He has a good plan when he goes to the plate. I'm sure with Vasquez, he's going to try to see as many pitches as he can.
And there's a pretty good changeup. Billy was convinced he had a fastball, 1-2. And hitters hate facing guys like this, where there's just no pattern and the ball is just all over the place.
Well, a guy that has the ability to throw a changeup behind in the count, that's certainly a benefit to the pitcher.
Hit high and deep, left center field, but playable for Revere, and he makes the play in front of the track. So Billy's still at 99 home runs for his career. The Royals strand a runner in the first. Minnesota leads 1-0. Getting the day off as the Royals taking a look at David Lowe in right field. Coming up on Thursday night against the Rangers, you can come out and enjoy the Frenchie Quarter. $21 gets you a seat in Jeff Francoeur's right field cheering section, a limited edition Frenchie Quarter t-shirt, and Mardi Gras beads. You can get your tickets right now at Royals.com/Frenchie. Chris Parmelee leads off the second inning. In the first inning yesterday in Game 2, he hit an impressive 3-run home run to right field.
Right now, it's only his 3rd home run of the season, but Luke Hochevar gets the ball up in a strike zone about belt high. Chris Parmelee hits it 398 feet into right field bleachers.
And it was a long ball that really hurt Luke yesterday. Parmalee a 3-run shot in the first, and then Joe Mauer with the grand slam in the second.
Of those 7 runs that scored on those 2 home runs, I believe two each were base runners from walks. So 4 total bases on balls that scored.
And that ball's hit well to the opposite field. Alex is back to the wall, and Parmalee hits his 4th home run of the year. And the Minnesota Twins, they have hit the 2nd fewest home runs in the American League. But against the Royals this year, they have hit 18 home runs.
And that was a pitch that was down in the strike zone. He went down and got it, but the pitch had a little bit too much at plate. That was what Luis Mendoza was talking about his last start against the Tigers. He had the ball. He wasn't up a lot during the game, but he was in the middle part of the plate.
Back with a strike to Matt Carson.
See this pitch to Parmalee here with the Fox tracks. Pitch sinking down and away. Really a pretty good looking pitcher's pitch, but Parmalee had other thoughts.
And not the type of pitch that you'd expect to result in a home run. Maybe a base hit to left field like Joe Mauer had in the first inning.
You're right.
Matt Carson's in left field for this game, so no Josh Willingham, and he's had a huge season against the Royals. He did not go on that swing, according to first base umpire Mike Everett. Willingham lately has been bothered by a sore hamstring. So a doubleheader yesterday, a single game today, and Ron Gardenhire figured this was a good time to get Willingham out of there. And Moustakas goes up to make the play, and that's the first out of the 2nd inning.
Well, Moose has been a magnet down at third base. Twins have hit a lot of balls his way. He's made a lot of very nice plays.
And now AT KCA with 1 out. AT KCA hitting .215. You compare the Twins and the Royals, and you start thinking about 2013, and Minnesota certainly has some big game, big money players in the middle of the order and guys who have won. However, both teams need starting pitching. I think the Royals' rotation is actually in better shape than Minnesota's is. And if you talk to people connected to the club, they will tell you that they are very unsettled at third base, shortstop, and second base. Yikes.
Those are a lot of holes to fill.
Cracked bat. And Escobar will throw out KCA, 2 down in the 2nd. Mentioned Trevor Plouffe earlier, and he gets the day off, and he got off to a great start after the Twins gave him third base. Danny Valencia was sent down and traded away. Brian Dozier, they figured he'd be a long-term solution at short. He's in the minor leagues right now, and AT KCA, while he's solid on defense, has done very little at the plate. And here's the man who's getting the majority of the starts at shortstop right now, Pedro Florimon. 3 hits yesterday and a couple of runs scored.
They are hopeful that Florimon is able to develop offensively the way that Alcides Escobar has for the Royals.
He's a switch hitter. No balls, 2 strikes. First signed by the Baltimore Orioles back in 2004, now 25 years old. One ball, 2 strikes.
Talked about maybe the Royals having the edge on the starting rotation. I think that may be true, except for the fact when the Twins and the Royals face off against each other. If you look at the composite, the Royal starters against the Twins, other than Luis Mendoza, 1-6 on the year.
Nice diving play, Hosmer, and an out at first base. So Mendoza gives up the home run to Parmalee, but Moustakas And Hosmer flashing some leather. And the Twins get just the one run in the second. In Kearney, Missouri, has been a professor at the UMKC School of Pharmacy since 1999. Along with her student pharmacist, she has committed thousands of volunteer hours to the Jackson County Shared Care Free Clinic, where they provide free health assistance to uninsured individuals. Dr. Lindsay and her students have donated over $5 million in medications to those in need, and today she enjoys the game from the Buck O'Neill Legacy seat. As the Minnesota Twins have scored 12 runs in innings 1 and 2 in this 3-game series. 1 in the first, 1 in the second today. 2 balls and no strikes on Salvador Perez, who sat out game 1 of the doubleheader and then had 4 hits in game 2. And now 3 balls and no strikes from Vasquez. Taking all the way, 3-1. Vasquez had a walk in the first inning. He walked Gordon with 2 outs, but that was all. All 3 outs were in the air. And now leadoff walk in the bottom of the second.
He had a 4-hit game yesterday for Salvador, his second of the season, and his average up above 300 as a result of it.
Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. 3 hits, 2 RBIs for Mike Moustakas yesterday. He's hit in 5 straight. Coming off a tough road trip. He was just 1 for 23 through Tampa Bay and Boston, but now he's hit safely in each game since coming home. And that's just over Florimon and out into left center field. Perez will stop at second base. So Moustakas has hit in 6 straight, and the Royals have 2 on with nobody out.
Well, it's a game of streaks and slumps, and Mike Moustakas is on a streak. I thought Florimon had a good chance of catching this ball, but he hit it nice, just out of the outreach of Florimon.
And it brings up Lorenzo Cain. Cain dropped down to 7th in the order. 1 out of 8 yesterday, dropping his average to 247. Takes a high changeup for ball 1. And a fastball's outside, and Vasquez falls behind again. 2 balls and no strikes. Vasquez doesn't really fit the mold of what the Twins have been doing over the past 10 years or so, 11 years. There's Rick Anderson, a former teammate of yours, a former Royal. He's the pitching coach. And the Twins, whether they've been pitching well or not, have always been one of the best in the league in limiting walks. And they are 4th best this year, which is really bad for them. I mean, because they're usually the best, and it's not even close.
And they start with a philosophy in the minor leagues where they actually have their pitchers just pounding the strike zone. They're not as curious about or interested in having guys throwing on the corners. They want them down in the strike zone, have their catcher set up in the middle of the plate, and they just really emphasize throwing strikes.
Prior to this year, the Twins have finished 1st or 2nd in the American League in walks in 8 of the last 9 seasons. So a lot of teams would be satisfied with being 4th in the league, but that's high for them. 3 balls, 1 strike on Cain with 2 on, nobody out. And a changeup, and as you pointed out, Monty, you saw that in the first inning. He's not afraid to throw that pitch behind in the count.
He's got a good one. That's a swing and miss type changeup. Go back to the bases on balls for the Minnesota Twins before they moved to Target Field. You know, playing in the old Metrodome, that was imperative that you threw strikes in that ballpark.
And that changeup is high. So 2 walks in the inning, 3 in the game, and the Royals have the bases loaded with nobody out. And speaking of Rick Anderson, he's going to go out, have a visit with Vasquez and catcher Ryan Doman.
You see the Fox tracks, it really looks like a scatter gun. He's really all over the place in that at bat.
So why did Minnesota take Vasquez in his 141 major league relief appearances and make him a starter? Well, you look at their opening day starting rotation. Their ace, Carl Pavano, has had a bad shoulder this year. He's only made 11 starts with an ERA of 6. Scott Baker had elbow surgery. He was their number 2 starter. He hasn't made 1 start for Minnesota. Francisco Liriano was on a roller coaster ride, and he's now pitching for the White Sox. Nick Blackburn is in the minor leagues and off the 40-man roster. And Jason Marquis, he was so bad that Twins just released him. That's their starting 5 to begin the year. And back with another changeup. No balls, 1 strike.
Probably their best starting pitcher this year, Scott Diamond, and he's serving a suspension for throwing at a batter. So he would have been today's probable had he not been suspended for throwing at the batter.
Hosmer gets a pitch down and hits it to left field. Carson, fighting the sun, makes the play. 1 runner will move up. It's Perez coming down the line. And it's a 2-1 game as Hosmer drives in his 55th.
It just seems to me, Ryan, more and more good things happen when Eric Hosmer goes the other way with the pitch, and he did it right here. Gets an RBI, sac fly to left.
So 1st and 2nd, 1 out to Tony Abreu. The runners go. Domit's throw to 3rd is late. The Royals pull off a double steal. Stolen base number 4 for Moustakas and number 7 for Cain.
Nice job of the Royal base runners. Vasquez kind of falling asleep at the wheel as far as keeping them in check, and Mike Moustakas able to make it into third base very easily.
And now Abreu hooks it up the right field line, but foul by a foot. Now, when you look at the major league stats, they will tell you that Tony Abreu is facing Vasquez for the first time. But here are two guys from the Dominican Republic. And with winter ball as big as it is there, you wonder how many times he has really faced him outside of the big leagues.
They've probably been playing against each other since they have been on to play baseball.
And that is through the right side. The Royals tie the game. Kane comes around third. The throw is cut off. Abreu is out at second base, 2 down. But he drives in 2, and the Royals take a 3-2 lead in the second inning.
Abreu a near miss on the double down the line, going foul, but this one he's going to serve it fair into right field. See Parmalee come up throwing. Rusty Kuntz going to go ahead and send Tony Abreu, going to trade the out for the run.
And Abreu does that with the count 0-2. And now the Twins will appeal that Kane missed third. And that was interesting. Tim Welke, all he had to do was put his hands out to his side saying that no, he touched third. But he was emphatically nodding his head as if to say, he touched third, and I saw him touch third.
I had it all the way.
I'm not just saying that, I saw it. Or maybe acknowledging it was close, but he did touch third. David Lowe leading off for a second straight game, and he popped out to short in the first. 1 ball, 1 strike. And hit hard into right center field. So Lowe is aboard with 2 outs, and he wants 2. He is in there. Well, the Royals want to get a look at him in the final month of the season, and that will catch the coaching staff's attention.
He's going to go right off the get-go. He's going to make sure that he gets a good turn here. He's thinking 2 all the way. Sees the ball in the gap. Not even a close play at second base. Great hustle, good wheels, good tools.
So he's in scoring position for Escobar. Escobar is due for a hit. 0 for 1 today and 0 for his last 16. Pitch over the inside for a strike. It would be breaking baseball tradition to not compare a new player to somebody else. So what type of a player is he? Well, he reminds me of fill in the blank. And with David Lowe, the name that comes up more often than not is David DeJesus.
He's supposedly a David DeJesus with more speed and a little more power.
1 ball, 1 strike. You know who he reminds me of, just the way he looks in his uniform, is Ross Glode.
He does, you're right. Maybe the same number, too, I think.
That might be part of it. And the same type of a stance, an open stance from the left side. Good swing by Escobar right on that fastball at 92, but fouled it back. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So Escobar in a slump right now, 0 for his last 16, but it's been a career year for him so far. He has a career high in hits with more than a month ago, a career high in doubles, in stolen bases, and just 4 RBIs shy of his previous career high. Backhanded by Carroll, and his long throw is right on the money, and that ends the inning. The Royals take the lead. A 3-run second inning with Abreu driving in 2.
Lowe with his third career hit, the hustle double, and right now joined by family and friends. We've got everybody here. We've got his sister Danielle, his mom Denise, a little down the way here, his father Denny, his brother Damon, and also, you guys talked about Mercyhurst College in Pennsylvania, joined right now by his former roommate and teammate, not for baseball, but for football. Mitch Phillips was the quarterback, and you were throwing passes, touchdown passes to David Lowe. So what is this like?
Oh, very exciting. We're just out of our seats, crazy. That double there, that's unbelievable.
So you saw him as a two-sport athlete, and now here you are. You were telling me earlier today that it's almost an unreal experience. So, and that, by the way, everybody's wearing their David Lowe jerseys already, their Royals jerseys. They've already been outfitted with those. But can you just put into words what it's like to see your longtime buddy on a major league field?
I mean, it's really almost surreal, like I told you this morning. Just a couple of years ago, we're sitting in Mercyhurst watching them do the same thing, and here we are. Just take a look around. Amazing.
Now, what kind of a football player? We're now seeing what kind of a baseball player he was, but I remember the first time talking to him, and physical guy and all that kind of stuff, two-sport athlete. So what was he like on the football field?
Just as good. I mean, you put him in anything, he was good. You take him to a basketball court and ask him if he can dunk, he's turning off the backboard 5 minutes later dunking it. So football was the same way. Unfortunately, the Royals had to take him away from me for the senior year. I could have used him a little more. It would have been nice to get him out there, but we're really proud of him, and he's been great all the way through.
The one thing, guys, I want to point out, because we sometimes forget, I think we know how special these debuts are, from seeing Hosmer last year and Moustakas and Perez and on and on. Every time we see it, it's special. But, Mitch, you were telling me something that you guys were watching this morning and how often you were doing it. Just tell me about that.
Yeah, we're playing back on Damon's phone the first hit from last night, and looking at the comments, and everyone's excited, and we probably watched it, I don't know, 5 or 6 different times just this morning. So we're excited.
Yeah, and to see him sitting there chatting at first base with Joe Mauer, he told me how exciting that was. All right, let me ask the women from the Lowe family here. Denise, you raised him. I know a great athlete, as we're going to see Escobar not be able to get there on time, as we see here oohs and ahs from the Lowe family. They're very much on board. How about for you as a mom to see your son out here making his major league debut after all these years of grinding?
He so deserves it. He's such a hard worker. It's phenomenal. And he's always been that way his whole life. He just puts 100% into everything he does. And I'm so proud of him, and I'm really, really happy for him.
So who got the call? How did that go? What did you hear? I know that's always emotional. And then how quickly did you get here?
I think Dad got the call first, and then I got the call, and we're just all in tears. I mean, we couldn't even hardly talk. We were here within 15 hours or so, for the first, game, and it was fabulous.
So Danielle, everybody is topped in the car, and off you go to see your brother?
That's right. I was the last to know, apparently, and I got done teaching. I'm a teacher, and got in the car. Let's go. When are we leaving? That was my comment.
Well, it's exciting. And Denny, how about for you? I mean, you saw your son playing baseball and football and all the sports all these years. What's it like to get that phone call, Dad, I'm going to the show?
Well, he called me. He was crying, and I thought something was wrong. And then when he told me, he said, pack my bags, I just had the biggest smile on my face. I told him he was going to get called up this year. I just knew it. He had to. He was due. So.
And then to be here in person, and I know the Royals always do a great job of making sure that the families can get here, but to have everybody here and to see that first hit in the doubleheader last night, he's leading off, and with Joe Mauer at first base, who's up now, the great catcher. Just tell me what that moment was like for you.
It was just great. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better. I really couldn't. It's fantastic. I mean, that's what he dreamed for. That's what he wanted, and he got it. I told him that. I said, now that you're here, make the best of it. So he's doing that. So
he's a great kid. I've enjoyed getting to talk to him over the years. I know a hard worker. I know a great attitude. I know that his teammates, guys like Moustakas and Hosmer that have come up with him, are excited about it. Sorry that he messed up the senior year, Mitch, but I guess he had to throw a touchdown passes to someone else.
Yeah, he had bigger and better things to move on to.
Well, congratulations to you all. It's always so much fun to see these moments celebrated by the family and friends. And Monty, he joins you now as what will be the 21st Ohio-born player in Royals history.
I did check with him. He is a Buckeye fan, so we do have that in common.
Oh, you're a Buckeye fan too? Hey, Ryan.
Yes.
Ryan, what do you think about that?
3-2 on Joe Mauer with Carroll at first base.
Yeah, let's talk about Mauer.
Did you say something, Joel?
I don't know. It's the rare moment where a Badger and a Gopher can get along if we don't have to talk about those other guys. All right, guys, we'll go back up to you.
All right, thanks, Joel. You know, those never get old. Just seeing the families here in the big stadium, and there he is. He's out there on a big league field, and even though it's just a game and a few innings, hanging right in there in the big leagues. Salvador Perez with Joe Mauer standing right next to him shows off his arm, and he guns down Jamie Carroll as Mauer strikes out, and that's the end of the inning. The top of the third inning, although Jamie Carroll was arguing his case, he thought he was safe.
Well, the ball beat him there, but I'm not sure that Alcides Escobar got the tag on him in time. Maybe not. Maybe not at all.
Laz Diaz is the second base umpire. Now Carroll back to third, and it is a beautiful sunny day, but it's a challenging day for everybody on the infield and in the outfield. Royals got all three of their runs in the second inning against Vasquez, who walked two. Both of those runners turned into runs, and he's walked three in the game. He walked Alex on 4 straight in the first. Gordon, Butler, Perez coming up in the third inning. If anybody gets on, Mike Moustakas. Very high, shallow right field. Parmelee started back, so he has a long run in. He calls off KCA, and that's the first out. Coming up on Thursday, the Royals and the Rangers. And you can experience the new NightlifeKC.com lounge located on the Budweiser patio. Tickets are $30. That gets you in the door, 2 beverage vouchers, a private DJ, plush seating, and more. So come out and enjoy this unique atmosphere in an exclusive outdoor lounge. Royals.com/NightlifeKC for tickets. Strike over the outside to Billy Butler, who flied to deep center field in the first inning. Had a good swing, but just got underneath the pitch from Vasquez, so still going for home run number 100 in his career. 0-2.
Vasquez starting Billy off back-to-back breaking balls, trying to get ahead, and he has done that.
And again, a breaking ball down and away. Billy strikes out, and that's number 1 today for Vasquez.
This breaking ball looks like it's more of a slider than a curveball to me, but reports were that he had canned his slider for the curveball, but regardless, it's a quality breaking ball when it finishes off the plate like that.
So 2 down to Salvador Perez. He began the second inning with a walk, and the Royals ended up scoring 3. Perez scored on Hosmer's sacrifice fly. Moustakas and Kane scored on Abreu's single. Oh, and 2.
We had a chance to visit with Bert Blyleven, the Minnesota Twins Hall of Fame broadcaster, and he was very impressed with Salvador Perez. Nothing but good things to say about his bat.
There he is. In last year's Hall of Fame class. And if you want to talk curveballs, he's the guy to talk to.
He had a great one.
Off the end of the bat, shallow left center, and Carson runs in to make the play. And Vasquez needs just 9 pitches to get through the Royals in the 3rd. Should play for the Royals today, including this one by Hosmer in the 2nd inning.
That was quite a play. Very difficult to knock down, let alone get the out.
Leading us to our Sprint You Call It question for today. Who do you think will be the next Gold Glove winner for the Royals? And there might be more than one the same year, but if there is only one, who's next? Salvador Perez, Eric Hosmer, Mike Moustakas, or Alcides Escobar? Text 432-432, enter keyword Royals, a space, and then A for Perez, B for Hosmer, C for Moustakas, D for Escobar. You have a thought on that one, Monty?
Well, Mike Moustakas may be the guy just because Adrian Beltre is the guy that always stands out at third base, because maybe not as much competition at that position. There may be a better opportunity. Can't go wrong with any of those guys.
Maybe he'll win one this year. Sorry, Joel. Maybe he'll win one this year. Who knows? I mean, I can't think that Beltre's had a better year at third base than Mike Moustakas has.
Here's the problem, Ryan, and you know this as well as I do. One, this ends up oftentimes being as much a hitting award as anything. Two, it ends up being an award having to do with veterans and incumbents who, once they knock down that door, end up getting that recognition right away as, oh, he's the Gold Glover, which might lead to Alex, getting more of those, not just because of who he is, but because of what he has done. I think that with that reason, it'll be tougher on Moose because of names like Beltre and Longoria, who, between the two of them, have had the last 5. So it's not always about who deserves it, although I agree with you. I can't imagine anybody playing a better third base this year. But the one thing to me is, in Salvador Perez's case, the way he's throwing out runners, picking them off and caught stealing, a lot of guys don't do that. That can make a lot of highlights, and that can open a lot of eyes around baseball and in other clubhouses. And I have a feeling that maybe Salvi, if he stays healthy, could be the first one.
Joel, on that point, I remember back to Pudge Rodriguez. Some catchers, like Salvador Perez, Pudge Rodriguez, they have the ability to really kind of change the game, the way that other teams approach base stealing, and they have the ability to change the game. And I think that's a difference maker that Salvador Perez has the chance to be. And I think once he gets that exposure around baseball, people will know who he is, and he will have that household name. And
the other thing is that as guys start getting the message, either they get thrown out by him or they suddenly get the memo and, I can't run on him. He really changes the game. Word gets out, and they understand that, and they suddenly have that recognition, the same way that they would when they say, boy, I really shouldn't run on Alex Gordon, or I really shouldn't run on Jeff Francoeur. And I don't know that his competition is as good as others, too. I mean, Matt Wieters won it last year. Joe Mauer had won it 3 years in a row, and prior to that, it was mostly Pudge Rodriguez with a Veritek in there. So I think that there's a nice little opening for him as far as there not being a lot of great catchers out there.
Mendoza strikes out Morneau. Morneau thought maybe that pitch was in the dirt, so he started running, but Paul Schreiber, the home plate umpire, said it went right into Perez's glove, and that's Mendoza's second strikeout.
Looks like Mendoza's got a little better curveball than we saw in his last outing against the Detroit Tigers, finishing nice out of the strike zone today.
You, of course, remember the late pitcher Darryl Kyle, and Joel does as well. They were probably together at the same time in St. Louis, but he had that great curveball. But what was so unique about Darryl Kyle is that he was a sinker curveball pitcher. And you hear so many guys today, sinker slider. There's so many sinker slider guys in the game that, somebody like Mendoza, if he's got his sinker working in his curve, or if Luke Hochevar has a game where he's feeling his sinker and wants to use that overhand curveball, that's just a look that hitters don't see these days.
Yeah, and that's the reason he's Mendoza I'm talking about is able to increase his strikeout total this year, because he throws that curveball on the back foot of the left-handed batter. So he's got that action going down and into the left-handed batter with his curveball, and then his sinker is going to go down and away. So he's able to really maximize the efficiency on both sides of the plate.
And what a sinker slider pitcher has is, the speeds might be a little bit different, the sinker and the slider, but it's essentially the same break. Just one's going in one direction as Domit hooks it into the corner, and that's foul. There is much more.
Yeah, the slider would have more of a 45-degree break, and the curveball more of a over-the-top straight, like a 12-6 break.
And the sinker would just be the reverse of the slider. It's breaking
45 degrees the other way.
45 degrees. And so unless a sinker slider pitcher has a good sinker and slider, it's really not a huge adjustment for the hitter. But a 45-degree angle pitch and then one that comes right over the top, as you just described, that's not only effective, but it's just very rare. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Domit. Ryan Domit has driven in 10 runs against the Royals this year. Drove in a run yesterday in Game 1. And there's the curveball. Domit's out in front, strikes out, and now Mendoza's struck out 3 in a row, going back to the 3rd inning.
Here's this curveball we're talking about. Gets that finish down and in. The pitch actually stayed in the middle by Foxtrot. You see the spike that he uses on his finger to really get that emphasis on the curveball.
What does that do?
Well, I think it allows you to really keep that top finger off the ball. It allows you to use the middle finger to really emphasize the breakdown. You want to be pulling down. It's almost like you're pulling a lamp, pulling down like a shade. You're pulling down hard on that, and that middle finger is so key in that.
So just by spiking the index finger, you're keeping yourself from putting too much pressure on that one, and then the ball spins as opposed to tumbles downward.
Right, you're able to really torque it more. Think of it able to create more spin by using that middle finger as opposed to the index finger.
1-1 on Parmalee, who hit a pretty good pitch down and away and homered to left center field. Now Mendoza's ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Parmalee hit an impressive home run to right field in the second game of the doubleheader last night, and then going the other way today. And he goes the other way with a curveball and has his second hit. And he was down in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. On the radar gun so far today, Mendoza's hit 92. Vasquez has hit 94. You can get downloads up to 50 megabits per second with Time Warner Cable Ultimate Internet.
There was a curveball that just kind of rolled up there instead of really finishing it off out of the strike zone. It kind of rolled into the strike zone.
Ball 1 inside on Matt Carson. Carson lined to third in the second inning, and Moustakas left his feet to go up and get it. Perez down to first, and maybe a little better throw would have gotten Parmalee. 2 balls and no strikes on Carson.
And that's one reason that Salvador Perez will change the game and change the way that guys think about it, because he's not afraid to throw, and he's got a great arm, a quick release. Base runners really have to be careful not to get too much on their secondary lead.
Off the fist, shallow left. Alex catches up, and that's the inning. 2 strikeouts for Mendoza in a scoreless fourth. Royals lead 3-2. Royals baseball on Fox Sports Kansas City is brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealer. By AT&T, the world's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible.
That looks like that'd be a pretty heavy sinker.
Yeah, try and elevate that pitch. You would think after the past couple of days that kids wouldn't want to get in the water, but it's getting hot again, and with all the rain, some humidity, upper 90s tomorrow, and that's going to continue throughout the week. I think by Friday back into the mid 80s again. Mike Moustakas singled in the second inning stole third on a double steal and scored. Very high in the air to right field. And caught by Parmalee. One down in the bottom of the fourth. Well, the next time the Royals are home on Sunday, bring the kids out. Every Sunday is a family fun day Sunday, and the kids will enjoy face painters, balloon artists, kids entertainment by Radio Disney, and much more. Sundays at the ballpark is your family destination. Go to Royals.com/Sunday for more information and for tickets. And that next Sunday at home will be the 16th. We only have 2 more Sunday home games. September 16th against the Angels and September 23rd against the Indians.
Today is game number 133. Only 29 left after today.
Well, you remember from your playing days, Monty, that there are times when the season seems so long. When is the season going to be over with? Whether it's a good year or a bad year, it's just long. And then, as you said, there are days like today when you write down 133 on the scorecard as Kane lines out. So he's 0 for 1 today. And if you're like me, you think 133, how is that possible?
Well, it goes by quickly, but it seems like it drags on a lot, especially when you hit those skids like the Royals had in April when they lost 12 games in a row. It seems like it drags at that point. When you're playing good baseball, it seems like it really moves on nice.
And the Royals had an excellent August, which is usually the dog days of the year. It was the Royals' best August since 1991, going 17-11. Hosmer hit a sac fly to left field in the second inning, his 55th RBI, and he has 3 RBIs in the series. No balls, 2 strikes, and now all of a sudden Vasquez is feeling it. He's throwing strikes and getting a lot of quick decisions.
I think one thing of note on that stretch when the Royals played so well from July 31st to August 30th, they were 11-1 against the American League Central, so played really good inside the division.
3-pitch strikeout, Vasquez second, and he's retired the last 7 Royals.
Las Diaz decides that Alcides Escobar gets the tag down in time.
Minnesota had a 2-0 lead at the end of an inning and a half, and the Royals scored all 3 of their runs in the bottom of the second. So after a shaky first couple of innings, both Mendoza and Vasquez have settled in nicely, and now KCA trying to bunt his way on, and Mendoza cut it off, and he got it to Hosmer with his glove. I don't know if KCA would have beaten the throw anyway, but Ball popped in and out of Hosmer's glove, and that's a base hit for KCA.
I think he may have had a chance to get an out if Eric Hosmer is able to hang on to this ball. It's a tough play for both sides. As a pitcher, that's really your only chance, is to just glove it and flip it up there. At close range, however.
Looks like a much easier play in slow motion. And here's the number 9 hitter, Pedro Florimon. And he lost a base hit on an excellent play by Hosmer in the second. Monty mentioned when he batted in the second that the Twins are hoping that his bat develops like his glove and his legs have. He's a good defensive player, good speed. But coming into this season, he was just a .241 career minor league hitter. Now, it's one thing if you're hitting .241 in the big leagues and you're a slick fielding shortstop, but you see a larger red flag when you're hitting .241 in the minor leagues.
Well, we saw that with Salvador Perez. He didn't have impressive offensive numbers in the minor leagues, but he came to the big leagues and really hit the ground running as far as the bat's concerned. Alcides Escobar is a guy that's really developed offensively and plays great defense as well.
Close, but KCA gets back. The Twins in some ways are trying to go back to their Metrodome days when they were more of a running team, pitching and defense, and not a whole lot of power. But as they moved into Target Field, they were mostly power and not as much running. And lo and behold, Target Field is not a home run hitter's park. So the home runs have gone down and the stolen bases have gone up. The Twins have stolen the second most in the league. Remember at the end of your career and shortly after that, you had Torrey Hunter and Jock Jones zipping around the bases, and Christian Guzman. That's in time, so Mendoza picks off KCA. One away in the fifth.
KCA was going to be going on the pitch. Luis Mendoza with nice timing on it to throw the first. A lot of times you're throwing the first just to keep them close, but here Luis Mendoza gets a big out.
Two and two.
Brian, talk about those Metrodome days. I remember when they had the likes of Kirby Puckett, and it seemed like they hit the ball so hard up the middle. We said it's like playing in a bowling alley, and you're, as a pitcher, you feel like you're right in the middle of the lane, and balls would come flying through the middle. Unbelievable.
Hosmer down to a knee. He'll take it to the bag himself. 2 down. Yeah, those teams in the 80s. Twins won the World Series in '87, and that was power. Herbeck and Gaetti and Puckett and Brunansky, but it was still an offensive paradise for the Twins, just in a different way. All those doubles turning into triples and singles turning into doubles, all the stolen bases, the hitting and running that Tom Kelly and Ron Gardenhire put on for that offense.
They would apply the pressure.
Ben Revere is grounded out and popped to short. And I remember working the games with Denny at the Metrodome, and even though Kauffman Stadium, or then Royal Stadium, was never indoors, but the way the Twins would use their speed in the turf reminded him a lot of the Royals here at home with the turf in the 1970s and the 1980s.
Right, build your team around speed.
Those big power hitting teams from the American League East back in those days, the Baltimore Orioles and the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. First of all, they couldn't hit home runs here like they could at home because of the size of the ballpark. And the Royals would just be running circles around him. All the triples and inside the park home runs, and the slow plodding outfielders trying to run balls down on the turf.
can't tell you how many times I saw Jose Canseco go over that right field corner and try to cut a ball off, and next thing you know, he's chasing it around the corner into right center field for an inside the park home run.
Full count on Revere. Be a tough play, and it's through for a base hit. Even if Escobar gloves it, Revere can really fly. So he's aboard with 2 down.
Just had to get that one started, hit it off the plate itself, and then it gets a little top spin going up the middle. Alcides Escobar, no chance to cut that one off.
Jamie Carroll has singled to left, and he has an infield single. What did you say he was hitting against the Royals
He
this
has
year?
had quite a season against the Royals here in Kauffman Stadium. 13 for 27 at a 481 clip with a double, a triple, 4 RBIs, and scored 6 runs. So,
and that's what he's done against the Royals here and in Minnesota, 355. One ball, 1 strike. 10 years ago, in September, Jamie Carroll got to the big leagues for the first time. He was 28 years old and was thinking about moving on to another career. He was in the Montreal Expos organization, thinking that maybe he would be a full-time teacher during the 2003 season, but he got that call up. And at the time, the manager of the Expos was Hall of Famer Frank Robinson. And Frank Robinson, his words to the Expos and really to the baseball industry really changed Jamie Carroll's career. And he said, every team needs a Jamie Carroll. And from his mouth, Frank Robinson's, that carries a lot of weight.
well, that's right. A lot of teams that win have a player like Jamie Carroll on the team, a guy that can play a lot of positions. He always has a team in front of himself and just teaches the young players especially the right way to play the game.
Mendoza's already picked off 1 runner in the inning. He got Casilla. And keeping a close eye on Revere, who has stolen 31. Three balls, 1 strike.
Talking a little bit about a player like that, got to throw a happy birthday wish out to our partner Rex Hudler today. Today is Hud's birthday.
Do you know how old he is?
He's old. I just don't know exactly how old. He's enjoying the game, or he's enjoying the football game at the University of Kansas with his daughter yesterday.
Our director, Steve Kurtenbach, informs me that Hud is either 52 or 53 because they graduated from high school the same year.
53 then.
Up the middle, and look who's standing at second base. Tony Abreu, who is over there to cover in case there was a throw with Revere running. So the Twins are scoreless in the 5th. Royals lead by 1.
That dugout, and you see a lot of young players with the addition to the roster with expansion in September of Manny Pena and David Lowe. The Royals now have 7 of 10 that are in the lineup today that played at AAA either this year and or last. 17 of the 27 active players right now have been at AAA last year or this year. 14 of the 27 are homegrown. 12 of them have come through the draft. So a very, very strong contingent of young players, homegrown players. And guys, it was interesting talking to Mike Moustakas. He just said that there's a lot of chemistry because these kids have come through the system together, and David Lowe very much a part of that group because he was there from 2007 and on. And these guys, he says, for better or worse, more better than worse, have spent a lot of time together. They're very comfortable around each other.
And they've been known as the first wave of the Dayton Moore regime. Number of talented position players all coming up at the same time. Tony Abreu is not from the Royals system, but he came up from AAA. And today he's 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs. Well, we hope that on September 17th you'll join some of your favorite Royals players as we purchase new baseball gloves for underprivileged kids in Kansas City. Gloves for Kids is Monday, September 17th at the Rally House in North Kansas City, located near I-29 and 152 Highway. Fans, you can come out between 6 and 8 p.m. and with your donation you can participate in an autograph session that night. You can go to royals.com/gloves-for-kids for more information. I have a preliminary roster as some guys are still checking their calendars. Salvador Perez will be there. Alcides Escobar, Chris Getz, Johnny Giavotella, Kelvin Herrera, Lewis Coleman so far. And others are, as I said, still checking their calendars. And this year is kind of special, Monty, because we're going to take a portion of the proceeds and send some gloves home with Salvador Perez, Alcides Escobar to Venezuela, and Kelvin Herrera to the Dominican Republic, so that they can give some gloves to the kids in their neighborhood who are playing baseball with cardboard boxes and milk cartons.
Very much appreciated on that. I'm sure they will certainly put those to good use. I remember playing winter ball in Puerto Rico, and exactly that. The kids, they make do with whatever they have, and I'm sure that these gloves will come in very handy for them. That's a fabulous cause.
David Lowe, base hit right field. That's a winner. 2 on, nobody out, and David Lowe is 2 for 3.
David Lowe making a lot of people in the stands happy today. Gets a fastball out of the middle of the plate. Nice line drive to right field. Nice swing. I know that guy.
All right. Did you see the guy behind the family? Escobar, bunt down. The Twins will play it to third, and they get the force on Abreu. So no sacrifice. Lowe moves up to second. Escobar, who's an excellent bunter, is among the league leaders in sacrifice bunts, bunted it right back toward the mound.
Tony Abreu, not overly quick, but got to give credit to Vasquez. Makes a nice quick, had his mind made up. He's going to third all the way. That's a tough play for a right-handed pitcher.
Alex walked in the first, fly to right in the third. No balls, 1 strike. Did you see the guy behind the Lowe family? It looked like he was taking a little nap in your upper right-hand corner. The family reacts to David's base hit. He wakes up, joins in on the excitement, and shuts her back down again.
Looked like a gallery clap at the 18th hole at Augusta.
So David Lowe, as a big leaguer, is 4 out of 8. And now 2 balls, 1 strike on Alex. Vasquez struggled with his control a little bit in the first inning, had a 4-pitch walk, really struggled with his control in the second, and he had a long second inning. Tim Collins warming up in the Royals bullpen. And then Vasquez had retired 7 in a row with very few pitches before the Royals greeted him with 2 hits to begin the 5th. And now Alex to center field off the end of the bat, and Revere with his speed catches up to it, 2 down.
Take a look at our sprint numbers here. How about the Gold Gloves? It looks like it's fairly even. No one's very decisive on this one.
I'm going to agree with the fans, and I believe Joel said the same thing. I think the league already knows about Salvador Perez.
Yeah.
And I think the league respects Eric Hosmer's defense and Mike Moustakas and Alcides Escobar's defense. But I believe there are people in the American League that are ready to start voting for him for a Gold Glove right now.
Well, we know everyone that comes to town and sees him play, they come over to this booth and talk about how impressed they are with the young catcher.
0-1 on Billy. He's flied to deep center, and he is struck out. So the Royals had 2 on, nobody out. And now first and second, 2 down. Interesting seeing Collins warming up in the bullpen. And I've got Mendoza just 84 pitches. And that's a base hit into left center field. So the Royals have a 4-2 lead as David Lowe comes around to score. 85 RBIs for Billy Butler.
Proved to be a big run, still only in the 5th inning, but much rather have a little cushion going out there, especially if you're going to turn it over to the bullpen here fairly soon. Didn't see Billy go out after that. He just stayed back, let it get to him. David Lowe, nice turn to third, nice wheels, no chance of getting him to plate.
And now the Twins huddle on the mound, but there's nobody warming up in the bullpen. So this isn't an attempt to slow things down for the bullpen, just allow Vasquez to catch his breath, and now maybe somebody will begin to warm up.
Everyone in the Twins bullpen pitching at least one of the games yesterday.
And that looks like Alex Burnett will begin to throw after they peel the tarp off the mound. First and second, 2 down to Salvador Perez. Ball 1 from Vasquez. Sal walked in the second, came around to score, fly to left in the third. Had a 4-hit game in game 2 of the doubleheader last night. He has Escobar at second base, Butler at first. Very high in the air to left field. You can see the sun reflecting off of Carson's shades, and he makes the play. That's the inning. Billy Butler comes through with 2 outs, drives in David Lowe, and the Royals have a 2-run lead. Royals are hoping to avoid a sweep and improve to 4-2 on this homestand. They're on their way with a 4-2 lead. Ryan Lefebvre with Jeff Montgomery. And Luis Mendoza appears to be back on track today as he's given up just 2 runs in 5 innings. But he is coming out right now. Tim Collins coming in. I hate to assume the worst, that it could be an injury. Can you think of another reason why he'd come out?
Well, he may be experiencing a little bit of dead arm, a little fatigue in that arm this time of year. I talked to him a little bit earlier in the week about that, and he said, yeah, maybe I don't feel quite as strong as I did early in the season, so hopefully that's just precautionary.
All right, so it'll be Tim Collins as Minnesota bats in the 6th inning. But Mendoza, who gave up runs in the 1st and 2nd innings, finished with 3 scoreless, and now the Chevy call to the bullpen. And along the lines of your theory, Monty, if that is the case, and we don't know, but 3rd time through the order and the middle of the order coming up, Joe Mauer, Justin Morneau, Ryan Domet, after that Chris Parmelee, so 3 of the next 4 hitters will bat left-handed. This would be a good time to bring in Collins.
Absolutely, and I think the situation with Mendoza, he never had a perfect inning today. He did have a real high pitch count, but you could tell that maybe he wasn't exactly 100%. But normally this time of year, pitchers are not going to be.
Mauer doubled in the 1st, struck out in the 3rd. And Collins is in with strike 1. Royals bullpen in the doubleheader yesterday turned in 10 1/3 scoreless innings. Big curveball.
That does make Ned Yost's decision a lot easier when you have a bullpen that's thrown so well during the entire season. Yesterday, like you mentioned, having 2 really nice games from everyone in the bullpen.
And Mauer, who never seems to be down in the count, he might be behind in the count, but never down, and on an 0-2 pitch has a solid base hit into center field. And in talking about the Royals bullpen, here's today's Toyota League leaders. And the Royals lead the American League in innings pitched out of the bullpen, strikeouts, and the fewest home runs allowed per 9 innings.
Well, fortunately, they've been getting a little more depth and length out of their starting pitching during the second half of the season, so they haven't had to go nearly as much. I know the month of August they had a real good outing from their starting pitching as far as innings pitched are concerned, so no one really down there is worn out.
Justin Morneau's 0 for 2 today. He does have an RBI, and he's driven in 3 in the series. One ball, 1 strike. And with that last swing, you can see why he might be 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts in the past against Collins.
Some guys just don't pick up certain pitchers' pitches well at all.
1-2.
Tim Collins being very aggressive both with Bauer and now here with Morneau. He's ahead in the count. Last pitch he fouled it straight back, like seeing through something that's got a little wrinkle in it this time.
And there it is. Perez holding it out there for home plate umpire Paul Schreiber. 2-2.
I think a pretty good pitch. It wasn't for sure a strike, but I think where it finished it looked like a strike. It maybe kind of broke around the plate.
And umpires will say, well, it doesn't really matter where the catcher's set up, but I think that's got to throw the umpire off from time to time. And now Morneau with a very defensive swing pokes it out into left center field, and he ends up with a base hit with 2 strikes in the count. 2 on, nobody out. But anyway, on that curveball, Perez was set up inside, so the pitch was not to the target, but it still appeared to be in the strike zone.
It's a lot more difficult for an umpire to make a call on that pitch if you're set up away and the ball's in. Here, like you mentioned, just almost an excuse me, reach out and touch it there. Base hit to left field for Morneau.
And there's what we talk about so often about, not leaving the ball up, even if you have a hitter fooled, because the pitch is up. it's much easier for him to make contact off balance if it's up than if that pitch was down.
Exactly. You've done half the hitter's job when you elevate the pitch.
So Domit becomes a right-hand batter against Collins. He grounded to the mound and struck out in his 2 at-bats against Mendoza. And now Domit bunts. There's a play at third base. And that's not what Domit had in mind. He was trying to surprise the defense. That was not a sacrifice. And the Royals get the lead runner.
That's a big play for Tim Collins. A little easier to play for a left-hander to make than a right-hander because he does not have to spin on this throw. Got third base right in front of him, but nevertheless, big out in this inning.
Ever since he made the big leagues for the first time with the Royals, Ned Yost has said that while Collins can be a handful for a lefty with his big curveball, that the Royals are confident that he can get lefties and righties out. And now here's the third left-hand hitter of the last 4 for the Twins in this inning, and there's that curve that buckled Parmalee in strike 1. And in looking at the numbers, he's done more than just get righties out, holding him to a 177 average.
And it's interesting. It seems like the opposing teams come in and they still go by the book. They don't really focus a lot on this split with Tim Collins. They still go with the right-handed batters against him.
1-1 on Parmalee. He homered in the second inning. Homered to left center field and then singled in the 4th. His second home run of this series, and he has 4 RBIs. Two and one.
It's getting late in this game for me. I picked the 2 double plays by the Royals in the hot watch, so it'd be a good time to get a little start on one right now.
You've got one already. You've got the strikeout throw-out double play.
That's true. I don't know if TJ would go with that one, though.
2 double plays.
All right.
Yeah. I don't think it was 2 ground into double plays, was it? 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, let's do a ground into double play here, then we'll go to court and we'll fight him.
Well, you don't have to go to court. It's already been approved by the hot watch judge.
Well, I'd like to get it over with because I lose sleep at night when I don't win in the hot watch.
The hot watch Supreme Court has ruled. Parmalee strikes out. So Collins gets his first lefty in the inning. And there are 2 outs.
Good life on that pitch. Looks like a changeup. Finishes down and away. Unusual for lefties to throw changeups to lefties or right-handers to throw changeup to righties, but it can be a great pitch for exactly that reason. They don't see it very often.
And a good fastball over the outside to Matt Carson, who is 0 for 2 today. Playing in left field, Josh Willingham nursing a sore hamstring. Carson drafted by the Yankees, and he's been to the big leagues before this year with the A's, 2009, 2010. There's the curve. That's a little bit outside, 1-1. Justin Morneau is at second base. Ryan Domit is at first. Two and one. Three balls, 1 strike.
Well, Tim Collins wants to throw a strike here. Doesn't want to put the go-ahead run on base, especially 2 in scoring position here. So I'm sure he's going to be going right at Matt Carson.
And he throws it right by him. 3-2. Maurer singled on an 0-2 pitch. Morneau singled. And then Domit, who is the number 5 hitter and has 10 RBIs against the Royals this year, he tried to bunt. He bunted to the third base side. Collins cut it off and got the force at third. Harmely struck out. And now 3-2 on Carson with the runners going, and it is down and away, and they are loaded up for KCA. And KCA will move over to the right side against Collins, and now Collins and Perez are going to talk it over. He has grounded out, and he is reached with a bunt single. So the defense has to be aware of that.
Infield defense here, just got to knock it down. Going to score, just score 1.
And taking a fastball for a strike. KCA is a .217 hitter, but if you break him down right-handed versus left-handed, he is much better from this side. 1 ball, 1 strike, which is somewhat against the norm. Most switch hitters are natural right-hand batters, but they end up getting so many at-bats from the other side, from the left side, just because of so many righties in the game, that eventually they became, at least as far as average goes, a better left-handed hitter.
I think a lot of that happens when a guy like Alexi KCA maybe grows up being a right-handed hitter, then he learns to switch hit. Depends on what their first activity was as a hitter.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Usually hitters will maintain more power from the right side, their natural side. Blocked by Perez. 2-2.
Situation here, bases loaded, 2-2 count. I would always think, whatever pitch I throw in this situation, I'm going to throw it twice if I have to throw it. I'm going to throw a breaking ball here. I'm going to throw, I know in my head, I'm going to throw back-to-back breaking balls.
3-2. So once again, the runners will be going. Morneau at third, Domit at second, Carson at first. Up the middle, base hit center field. So the Minnesota Twins have tied the game. Alexi KCA, I told you he was hitting .217. He was also hitting .185 with runners in scoring position, but he comes through with 2 outs.
So it looks like Tim Collins decided to go with the changeup. The pitch was down in a good location. KCA just does a nice job on serving it up the middle. Base runners running at the full count and 2 outs. Not a chance to make a play at the plate.
So this looked like an inning that was made for Tim Collins with all the left-hand batters coming up. And KCA, who is much better as far as average goes from the right side of the plate, he comes through. He has 2 hits today. And now Collins will get another switch hitter, shortstop Pedro Florimon. And twice he has grounded out to first base. He will bat right-handed for the first time today. And now Francisco Bueno warms up in the Royals pen. 0-1. So that means no win for Luis Mendoza, who went 5, gave up 2 runs, and departed after 84 pitches. One ball, 1 strike. Two and one. It's been a long inning for Tim Collins. 30 pitches.
Yeah, it's a tough inning and tough luck for Luis Mendoza, as you mentioned. Not going to get a victory now, but if you turn the game over to the bullpen in the 6th inning, there's a good chance that one of those guys that come in may not have his game on today, and Tim Collins has not had it so far.
Tap foul, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Florimon strikes out. 2 in the inning for Collins, but 2 runs for Minnesota. To the bottom of the 6th, we have a 4-4 tie. Sonic Slam inning, and we had a big winner on Thursday with Alex Gordon's home run in the 6th inning. That was worth $1,100. And now here today, Mike Moustakas, Lorenzo Cain, and Eric Hosmer. Our contestant is Tiffany Harbaugh from Blue Springs, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Tiffany wins $300. Of course, if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Tiffany wins $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. Mike Moustakas has singled and flied to right against Esmerling Vasquez. Moustakas also has a stolen base and a run scored. And that is out of play, 0-2. You mentioned earlier, Monty, that speaking of grand slams, that Joe Mauer hit Minnesota's first of the year last night. The Royals have just one grand slam all year, and it was hit by Mike Moustakas.
Toronto, wasn't it?
That's right. Just a bit outside. I say that in honor of Bob Uecker, who a couple of days ago had a statue displayed or on display in his honor at Miller Park in Milwaukee.
And I saw that statue, and I was thinking, I didn't really get that. It doesn't. I don't know that it doesn't look like him. It just, I thought it'd be something a lot more energetic, like a Bob Uecker, instead of just standing there with your hands in your pocket. Ryan, that's called repeating your delivery.
Yeah, he's got that down. He's certainly consistent to that part of the zone. I won't say the strike zone.
I don't think I've ever seen a major league pitcher miss 2 pitches in a row that poorly.
Well, it was in the bigger box. At least he didn't throw it completely out of the fox tracks, which has been done, by the way. That pitch is hit high and deep to center field. And Revere, fighting the sun, backpedals onto the warning track. And somehow Vasquez was able to find the strike zone after those 2 pitches, and Moustakas was able to put a good swing on it.
I kind of think those may have been waste pitches. He may have just been, those may have been intentional, actually.
Well, I know that major league hitters are the elite of the elite, but I have heard that Goose Gossage every now and then would just throw one to the screen just to give the hitter the impression that he's lost his control and he has no idea. And I've always wondered, when you got a hard thrower who maybe puts a little fear into the hitter as it is, if he doesn't want to throw a strike, why not just throw one halfway up the screen, you know, or throw one in the dirt 10 feet outside and just get the hitter thinking, what the heck?
Think back to 1993 All-Star game. Randy Johnson on the mound, John Kruk at the plate. He threw pitches over his head.
And John Kruk truly looked like somebody who was fearing for his life.
I believe I would be, too.
Yeah. Hit hard, but right to the shortstop, Florimon. Kane is out. 2 hard hit outs in the bottom of the 6th inning. Kane is 0 for 2. Time for today's AT trivia question. Who is the only rookie to ever win 4 games in a season against the Royals?
That's a tough question.
I think I know who that is. I think there's an in-the-house connection. And I think I may have broadcasted some of those games. Into the left field corner, Eric Hosmer. That's his first hit the other way today. He has a sac fly to left field. And with 2 outs, he has his 20th double of the year.
Well, Eric Hosmer does what we talked about earlier. Ryan, going the other way. Good things happen when he does it. Now he's going to be standing on second base with a chance for Tony Abreu maybe to drive in another run.
I've been told that my thought of the answer to the trivia question is incorrect, but I remember in 1998, Eric Milton pitching for the Minnesota Twins. He had, I thought, 3 or 4 wins against the Royals, but apparently not. And the answer is since Eric Milton. So you can think about that as Ron Gardenhire, after the Eric Hosmer double, and with Tony Abreu coming up, he has 2 hits today against Vasquez, and Ron Gardenhire thinks it's a good time to go to the mound. A Chevy call to the bullpen, and big left-hander Tyler Robertson on to face Abreu. Up your Royals Taco Bell 4 for $44 deal. This ticket package includes 4 Royals game tickets, 4 hats, 4 Taco Bell combo meals, all for just $44. And this deal is good for any Royals home game. You can get your tickets by going to royals.com/Taco Bell.
So Tyler Robinson, the lefty, on the face Tony Abreu. Sinker, slider, curveball. He made Twins history when he struck out all 3 batters in his major league debut.
And a strike to Abreu, who moves over to the right side. As a left-hand batter against Vasquez, Abreu hit a 2-run single in the second. That put the Royals in front 3-2 at the time, and then he singled again in the 5th. Down the count, no balls, 2 strikes, and that was the count, 0-2, when he delivered this 2-run single in the second.
Very welcome RBI opportunity. Takes advantage of it. Traded the out for the run, out to second base.
There's the second base hit in the 5th. He has Hosmer at second with 2 down. Blocked by Domit. 1 ball, 2 strikes. You have any thought about our trivia question? The last Minnesota Twins rookie to win 4 games in a year against the Royals, Cole DeVries, has done it 3 times. That's pop foul. Off to the first base side of Mauer. He may have overrun it. You could understand if he was concerned about the railing in front of the dugout suite and the tarp.
Yeah, I believe you're right. He did overrun the ball. So it does not
the
have to be
only
a twin.
rookie. Oh, I got you. Okay.
Doesn't have
and
to
it's
be
the
a
only
twin.
rookie. Okay, I got you. It's narrowing it down to just the Twins. The only rookie to win 4 games in a season against the Royals.
I got to think about some of those young Tampa Bay pitchers.
Abreu again into center field with 2 outs. He'll drive in Eric Hosmer, and the Royals lead 5-4.
Tony Abreu already with 2 hits and an RBI from the left side. Going to flip him over to the right side and let him get his first hit. 3-hit game for him today, and another RBI on the day. And Tim Collins is a very happy man at this stage.
How about Mark Burley? He just had so many wins against the Royals.
But that's good because I think this pitcher is now with a different team than he got his 4 wins as a rookie for.
Okay. Strike to David Lowe. 2 more hits today. So he's 4 for 8 with 3 runs scored. Doubled in the second inning, singled in the 5th. Parmalee in right field is there for the out. Royals get another 2-out run. Tony Abreu is 3 for 3 today with 3 RBIs, and for the second time today, a base hit from him gives the Royals the lead. Royals baseball is brought to you by Panera Bread, now at 24 KC Metro locations. Visit us online at PaneraKansas.com. By AT Uverse, the new wireless receiver from AT Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. Royals in front 5-4 right after Minnesota had tied the game in the top of the 6th. And now as we go to the 7th, Francisco Bueno will get the top of the order. Revere, Carroll, and Maurer. Mendoza gave up 2 runs in 5 innings. Collins gave up a couple of runs in the 6th.
Bueno on for the 8th time. Looking to get his first hold of the season here. Royals taking the lead in the bottom of the 6th inning. Got his work cut out for him.
Inside to Ben Revere. 1 for 3 with a 5th inning single. Minnesota got 1 in the first, another run in the second. So they've scored 12 runs in the first 2 innings of this series. The Royals got 3 in the bottom of the second. Added another run in the 5th. They had a 4-2 lead going into the 6th. Minnesota tied it. And the Royals with another RBI from Tony Abreu. Got 1 run back in the bottom of the 6th and lead 5-4. 3-1 from Bueno to Revere.
Right, I think worth noting on those Royals runs, now they have 27 of their last 38 runs have been scored with 2 outs. So their last 2 runs today and all 7 runs yesterday were with 2 outs.
3 balls, 2 strikes. That was something that started during the Boston series. Royals, what night was that? Saturday night in Boston, the Royals were down 9-3, and they had a 6-run 6th inning or 7th inning, and all those runs came with 2 outs.
That's a good start on a string.
Revere just got a piece of it to stay alive. Royals begin a 4-game series with the Rangers here beginning tomorrow afternoon, Labor Day. Minnesota flies to Chicago. They have a 3-game series with the White Sox. Revere goes the other way. Alex backs up toward the corner, and there's 1 out of the 7th. Monty?
I have no clue.
Neither do I. CC Sabathia. I wouldn't have gotten that. When I went, and our clue was that he did it with a different team than he's pitching with now. But as I was running through the Indians, I've forgotten CC Sabathia's with the Indians. From the Indians to the Brewers, where he pitched for Ned Yost, part of the 1998 season, and now with the Yankees since '99. Jamie Carroll, 2 hits and a run scored. 1 hop to Moustakas, who had to reach high to get it. Over to first in time, 2 down. This Saturday, it's another full day of college football, beginning with Tulane taking on Tulsa right here on Fox Sports Kansas City. Or you might see Miami battling 22nd ranked K-State. That's on FX. Then Rice takes on KU here on Fox Sports Kansas City. And 12th ranked Wisconsin, there you go, Joel, will be taking on Oregon State on FX. Joe Mauer today has 2 singles. And it's a good day for a slushie at the ballpark. Gonna be a tough play. Escobar throwing back across his body. The ball hits the netting. Mauer appeared to continue up the line and not make a move towards second base. And Hosmer will tag him just in case. And first base umpire Mike Everett said no, he stayed on the line. And Joe Mauer has his third hit.
The Royals had that shift on, and he just decides to go the other way like he did yesterday. He's going the other way a couple times today. Normally that would be an easy play for Alcides Escobar, but not with the shift. Would have been bang bang at first regardless, based on the distance that Alcides had to go to his right.
Mauer was already hitting .389 against the Royals this year and .351 for his career. That was before the 3 hits today. It's a scoreless 7th inning for Bueno as he gets Justin Morneau on a ground out. Stretch time at Kauffman Stadium. The Royals lead Minnesota 5-4. Missouri Division of Tourism. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. This is Powell Gardens in Kingsville. The gardens cover 915 acres of lush rolling hills and meadows. Visitors enjoy breathtaking display gardens, interesting architecture, a nature trail, plus a year-round calendar of special events and classes for the family. Explore the new Heartland Harvest Garden, a 12-acre expansion, making it the largest in Powell Gardens history. Seventh inning stretch, and the Royals have a 5-4 lead. Minnesota has led 2-0. The Royals have led 4-2. The game has been tied at 4. And it's a big day for Tony Abreu, who has 3 hits and 3 RBIs. And both times he's driven in runs, he's put the Royals in front. And here in the bottom of the 7th inning, it'll be Alcides Escobar, Alex Gordon, and Billy Butler. Remember, if you're on the road, you can take the Royals with you. Just subscribe to MLB.tv, and you'll see every Royals out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Royals.com to order. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. And Tyler Robertson came on in relief of Vasquez. And it was Robertson who gave up Abreu's base hit, but the run was charged to Vasquez. And now here's Escobar. Alcides Escobar all of a sudden is 0 for his last 18. Batting average down to .294. And that grounding into a fielder's choice in the 5th inning was an attempted sacrifice bunt, which resulted in an out at third base. And now timeout for a moment. AT KCA maybe has something in his eye.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. He put his glasses up. He may have taken something during their warm-ups, maybe a bad hop. Looks like maybe a nosebleed.
Could have been on the throw down to second base.
Yeah.
That's part of the pitcher's routine as he warms up every inning, as the catcher then gets a throw down to second. So maybe that came up in AT KCA. And the fellows in the truck have taken a look at that replay and said there was nothing to indicate it happened then. But he's fine. And Escobar will lead off against Robertson. A rain out on Friday. Minnesota swept a doubleheader yesterday. So the Royals trying to avoid a sweep or getting ready for the Texas Rangers tomorrow. Robertson throws the strike. Alcides Escobar is one of just 3 players in the major leagues with at least 25 doubles and 25 stolen bases. He is right at 25 doubles. That's a career high. And he has 27 stolen bases. That's a new career high. And the other 2 players would be Jose Reyes of the Marlins and Jose Altuve of the Astros.
Ryan, Tyler Robinson is making his 30th appearance this year, and he only has 18 in the 3rd inning, so we probably won't see a lot of him during this inning.
And just looking at what the Royals have coming up, he's probably facing Escobar here only because Ron Gardenhire wants him to pitch to Alex Gordon, who's coming up next. Two hops out to Jamie Carroll. And there's one away. So Escobar is 0 for 4 today. And now that slump extends to 0 for 19. Alex walked in the first inning. He's also flied to right and flied out to center field. Out in front, 1 ball, 1 strike. And here's why Ron Gardenhire wants Robertson to face Alex Gordon. Alex is 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts against Robertson.
Pretty good evidence.
Two and 1. And hit hard to right field and sinking, but Parmalee is there to make the play. And now with Billy Butler, a right-hand batter with power coming up, Ron Gardenhire says that's enough for Robertson, and he'll make another pitching change. Alex Burnett on to face Billy Butler with 2 outs and nobody on. Royals lead 5-4 in the 7th. population. Nice to see a couple of those fellas here at the game today.
Flowing locks.
Here's Alex Burnett to face Billy Butler with 2 outs and nobody on.
Burnett's really been a workhorse. 57 games now for Ron Gardenhire.
Billy drove in a run in the 5th inning. 1 for 3 today. 85 RBIs on the year. Fouled it off of his foot.
Burnett has a good fastball, low to mid 90s, but his slider is his pitch he'll probably try to finish the right-handed batters off with.
And some late movement. That pitch started outside and tailed over the corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, that's good life. You're able to start the fastball way and let it break back in onto the plate. That's a very effective pitch, especially if you have a good slider like Burnett has that you can really kind of show a different look with.
2-2. Twins are also in a similar situation as the Royals, where their rotation needs improvement, but their bullpen has been strong. Twins bullpen has only blown 9 saves all year. Billy was trying for home run number 100 with that swing, but Burnett gets him to go out of the strike zone. The Royals are scoreless in the 7th and lead 5-4.
Stadium 5-4. Joel Goldberg back as Panera takes us around the league, and Baltimore all over New York back just 2 games. Mark Reynolds a pair of home runs against Phil Hughes. Texas blasts Cleveland. They are coming here tomorrow. Tampa Bay behind David Price. And how about the struggles of Ricky Romero? 1 inning, 7 earned runs. Boston down early again. LA and Seattle scoreless. Big matchup tonight between Chicago and Detroit. Ryan?
Okay, thank you, Joel. Yeah, if Detroit can win tonight, they would tie for the lead in the Central. Domit just in front of the fence in left field. Alex makes a play, and Domit, who has some big hits against the Royals this year, he's driven in 10, nearly tied the game with his 15th home run of the year.
Hit the ball a long way, but he hit it right into the sun, too. Made it a little more difficult play for Alex.
Second inning for Francisco Bueno. Turned in a scoreless 7th inning, getting around a 2-out hit from Joe Mauer, and now pitching to Chris Parmelee. Parmelee's had an excellent series. 2 hits today, 5 in the series, 2 home runs, and 4 RBIs. And Bueno drops down and throws the strike.
Got Aaron Crow throwing down on the Royals bullpen, but I'm thinking Greg Holland's probably hopeful that Francisco Bueno and or Aaron Crow are able to go perfect, because if you look at the way that the lineup stacks up, if they go perfect, they don't have to face Joe Mauer or Justin Morneau with guys in scoring position.
Got him looking. First strikeout for Bueno. 2 down. Let's go back to Joel.
Oh, Ryan, I mentioned that Texas game and the major league debut of young Jurickson Profar, and he is the kid that everybody looked for in a trade. They'd never get rid of, or never give him up. 19 years old. He homered here against Jake Odorizzi in the Futures game, and he homers here in his major league debut, playing second base for now. But he's considered an excellent shortstop. Was at Double-A. Just played against Northwest Arkansas recently. So we will see him here tomorrow, Ryan.
All right. And we'll see Aaron Crow. He comes on with 2 outs, 8th inning. Royals lead 5-4.
Is the new Royals pitcher. You see his numbers on the year. Let's take a look at some news and notes from around the league, and obviously the battles are starting to get exciting. And if you are Detroit, you have to like the fact that you have not just Justin Verlander but Max Scherzer, 9 straight games with 8+ strikeouts. Brandon Inge out for the season. He's been a big part in the clubhouse for the A's. And a heated exchange between Alfredo Aceves and Dustin Pedroia. And you guys know how much of a mess it is in Boston right now. Aceves was suspended when we were there, was closing. Now he is not. He has thrown a high number of pitches as of late, almost like Bobby Valentine is just running him out there and running him out there over and over again. As for that exchange in the dugout, here's what Bobby Valentine said after the game. It's Alfredo being Alfredo and Dustin being a baseball player. Way to squash that one, Bobby.
Yeah. I wonder whose side he's on. Well, he's a different bird, Aceves is, and he wears number 91, which is an odd number for a baseball player, but he wears it in honor of Dennis Rodman.
Enough said.
Yeah. So I don't know if he's planning on piercing his mouth or his eye and dyeing his hair purple, but we'll just wait and see. Wearing a wedding dress. Aaron Crow gets a high pop-up into shallow right. That's a long run for David Lowe. He crosses the line. I think he may have lost it in the sun at the last moment. So Carson is still alive.
Lowe with great speed. He went a long way, but I agree. I believe the sun was a factor in that play. He had his glasses on, but still got to be able to pick the ball up. Between the sun and the wall, I'm not sure.
A slider gets away from Perez and still has time to get to Hosmer for the out. So Crow gets the Royals to the 8th. 7.5 played. The Royals lead by 1. As promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite.
And Tony Abreu certainly deserves a Miller Lite tonight. 3 base hits, 2 RBIs, 2 hits from the left side, 1 from the right. Very nice day, Tony Abreu.
Salvador Perez, Mike Moustakas, and Lorenzo Cain in the bottom of the 8th inning. Alex Burnett struck out Billy Butler for the final out of the 7th, so he stays in. Perez has flied to left twice. He walked leading off the 2nd inning. That led to a 3-run inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Esmerling Vasquez went 5 2/3 innings. He gave up all 5 runs. Tyler Robertson went 1 inning, and now Burnett. And there's a base hit for Perez. He has hit in 8 in a row.
Got Burnett here, throws a pitch, kind of backs in to the inside part of the plate, little breaking ball. Does a real nice job staying inside. Royals would love to add on a run or 2 this inning.
And Moustakas out into right field. That will drop. He has a 2-hit game. And the Royals have 2 on with nobody out, trying to add on. And that would be called an equalizer. Moustakas flies to the warning track with a good swing back in the 6th inning. This time he gets jammed, and that drops in for a base hit.
Seems like it's a funny game. A lot of times that happens.
So what will the Royals do with Lorenzo Cain? He's 0 for 2 and down to 244, but he swung the bat well. He's lined to second, and he's grounded out hard to shortstop, and he's had a walk with a run scored. A lot of options here. Let him swing away. He could drop down a bunch just to play it safe. He does not have a sacrifice bunt this year. He is not bunting, and swings and fouls it away. A hit and run is very unlikely with 2 on and nobody out, because a line drive for an out becomes a triple play. That is a fair ball over the bag. Perez comes around to score. Moustakas is held at third. And Cain comes through with a base hit and an RBI. And the Royals lead 6-4 in the 8th.
Royals going to enjoy having at least a 3-run cushion going into the, a 2-run cushion going into the last inning. Nice piece of hitting by Lorenzo Cain right over the bag at third base.
Bonnie, I think you were right with your first statement. I just don't think we're there yet.
We're not there yet.
The Royals have runners at second and third and nobody out. And the Twins will not let Hosmer swing the bat. Instead, they want to pitch to Tony Abreu, who's 3 for 3 with 3 RBIs. But they will have a force at every base. Hosmer has doubled today, driven in a run with a sac fly, and he has scored a run.
And with that double today, he has now hit safely in 16 out of 19 games, so he's on a nice roll as of late.
Tony Abreu doubled, or rather singled, in the 2nd inning, driving in 2 runs. He singled to right in the 5th. That was as a left-hand batter. He singled in a run as a right-hand batter in the 6th against Robertson. A strike from Burnett. So he has RBIs from both sides of the plate. Just the 2nd Royal to do that this year. Irving Falou accomplished that against Minnesota back in July the 1st. No balls, 2 strikes, and that's exactly where Abreu wants Burnett. He's hit well with 2 strikes today.
He's down in the count, but this is a nice situation to be hitting in. He's got a runner on third, nobody out, the infield's in, so if he can just slash one really anywhere in the infield, he's got a good chance unless he hits it right at someone.
Just inside with a fastball, 95 on the radar gun. Royals want to get a look at Abreu at second base. Remember when he was first called up by the Royals, played 3 games in a row at 3 different positions, third base, then shortstop, then second. And this time he's down on strikes. Started back-to-back games for the Royals at second base. And now David Lowe will be coming up with the bases loaded, 1 out. And Rodden Gardenhire is going to go to his bullpen. It'll be the former Nebraska Cornhusker Brian Dunsing. Boulevard Royals Live with Joel and Monty. They will recap the game. If you missed the earlier portions of the game, you'll see the highlights. You'll hear from Royals manager Ned Yost, other comments from the clubhouse, and a preview of tomorrow's game 1 of 4 with the Texas Rangers. The Royals will face Yu Darvish for the first time. Bruce Chen for the Royals. Darvish has won 13. Bruce Chen has won 10 or more for a 3rd consecutive season. But first things first, bases loaded, 1 out. David Lowe facing Brian Dunsing. Royals have 1 run home in this 8th inning. And now Dunsing misses down and away, ball 1. Another 2-hit game for David Lowe. Moustakas at 3rd, Kane at 2nd, Hosmer at 1st.
And Dunsing has been in the Twins rotation. In fact, I believe his last outing was as a starter, and they have a to be announced for their game coming up in Chicago in just a few days, so he may be out of the rotation.
1 ball, 1 strike. Brian Dunsing on this mound in 2009 won his first major league game.
He has started 11 games on the season.
On the ground to Mauer. To home plate for 1. Back to first. No double play. The Royals are still alive in the 8th inning. So Moustakas is cut down. Kane to 3rd, Hosmer to 2nd, Lowe at 1st.
About the best chance for a pitcher to get out of an inning is a ball right to someone at the infield end. David Lowe hustling down the line, very, very close play.
And a great time for Alcides Escobar to bust out. 0 for 4 today and 0 for his last 19. Outside for ball 1. One ball, 1 strike. And a good swing, but down in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Looking at Escobar's outs today, twice he has grounded out to 3rd, so trying to pull the ball, and his strength this year has been up the middle and going the other way. He does have a fly out to right.
You mentioned a slump, but he hasn't had an apparent change in his swing or anything. It just seems, and it hasn't been an ugly slump where he's not making contact, but he's not going the other way as frequently as he was.
And he strikes out. The Royals get a run. Then they had the bases loaded with nobody out and fail to add on, but they have given Greg Holland a 2-run lead to the 9th inning. Craig Holland, since the trade of Jonathan Broxton to the Cincinnati Reds, is 9 for 9 in save opportunities. He got 2 saves in the Tigers series. They weren't easy saves, but he was able to work past a couple of base runners, and they were long innings. So in Game 3 on Thursday, Ned Yost went to Kelvin Herrera, who got his first big league save, and now Holland trying to save the final game of this Minnesota series with a 2-run lead. And Minnesota will send up the 8, 9, and 1 hitters. Craig Holland has pitched in 4 games against Minnesota this year and has 5 scoreless innings.
He has been spectacular since the appointment to the closer's role. I had a chance to talk to him on that 3rd day against the Tigers when Kelvin Herrera got the save. He said he was ready. He said, I'm going to sit out there. I want to get him when I can, but I understand why Ned went with Kelvin Herrera.
And a strike to Casilla. Lexi Casilla with 2 outs in the 6th inning hit a 2-run single. That tied the game at 4. Royals got a run back in the bottom of the 6th and 1 more in the bottom of the 8th. A swing, sort of. No balls, 2 strikes.
That's one of your ugly swings.
Yeah, that would have made the list. We didn't do the list this year. Why didn't we do the list?
Too much paperwork.
That's a finalist right away, right there. Off the knuckles and foul. Casilla has 2 hits today, one of them a bunt single. And even with that, hitting .220. Still 0-2. Ron Gardenhire hoping that Casilla can get on base for a 3rd time today. And Trevor Plouffe is going to bat for Pedro Florimon. Trevor Plouffe, who has 20 home runs this year for the Twins. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, Greg Holland knows that Plouffe is on the on-deck circle. He's looking to get this first batter, Alexi Casilla, out so he doesn't have to face the tying run when Plouffe does come to the plate.
And we'll do it again. It's a lot more fun if you're a Royals fan when the closer comes out and bang, 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 1, 2, 3, and the opposition really doesn't mount any kind of a rally. But I would think if you're the dugout and you see a pitcher get around a walk and a wild pitch and a base hit and still get the save. And Holland begins this inning with a strikeout. But if he has some work that he has to do and he's able to stay calm despite the situation, that's a better indication as to whether he can handle the nerves of being a closer.
Right. We saw him come in last year in a lot of situations with guys on base. In the last 2 saves he got against the Detroit Tigers, he created his own situation, but he was able to get out of them. And I agree. He's a guy that has the demeanor to make up to be a closer. He obviously has the stuff. The thing I've been impressed with him is the ability to use that fastball. Last year, it didn't seem like he used his fastball as much. This year, his fastball, 97, 98. In fact, he threw his last pitch in the first game against the Tigers at 99 miles an hour for a strikeout. So he's really rounded out in a very complete pitcher.
So the best that Plouffe could do here is make it a 1-run game. Trevor Plouffe has 5 home runs this year against the Royals. His batting average, and we just showed it to you, it's .237, and the 20 home runs look good, with 45 RBIs to go along with 20 home runs. So that's not much of a run producer, driving in almost all of his runs with the home run.
And talking to some of the media from the Minnesota Twins, they're not so sure he's the guy that the Twins have circled as their guy to be the 3rd baseman.
Good hard breaking ball, making it 1 ball, 2 strikes. Plouffe in this series is just 1 for 8. Still 1-2. Oh man, chance of a lifetime. He did everything right. He brought his glove. He jumped out of his seat. He was in a good fielding position. The ball just did not stick.
He's beating himself up pretty good over that one. And I'm sure his wife will let him know for the rest of the evening.
Or his life. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Trevor Plouffe last year ended the season against the Royals. A walk-off hit in the 10th inning at Target Field in game number 162. Strikes out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Holland. And 2 down in the 9th. 9 strikeouts today for Royals pitchers.
I'm not sure Greg Holland even showed Plouffe a fastball. He finishes him off here with the slider down and away. Nice over top with that downward tilt.
And now very little power coming up. Ben Revere, no home runs. If he gets on, Jamie Carroll, no home runs in 3 years. And then even Joe Mauer, who's a big, strong guy, hit a grand slam yesterday. He has just 9 home runs this season. And a strike to Revere. He's 1 for 4. On the outside, no balls, 2 strikes.
Greg Holland probably not thinking strikeout, but he'd love to get one here to finish it off, striking out the side.
$23,641 here today. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Always a combination of Royals and Twins fans during the weekend.
Seems like there are always a ton of Twins fans that travel with their team.
And the count is 2-2. You don't often see an outfield that shallow in center field, and in particular Alex Gordon left field with a non-pitcher at the plate in the big leagues. But Revere's game is not power, it's speed, and he strikes out. And Greg Holland, with 3 days off, was sharp today as he strikes out the side. The Royals strike out 10, and they avoid the sweep. They beat Minnesota 6-4 today. Tony Abreu, 2 big hits for the Royals. 2-run single, putting the Royals in front 3-2. And then another base hit in the 6th, putting the Royals in front 5-4. The Royals added on another run. And the Royals are 4-2 on this homestand against Detroit and Minnesota.
Good to see them bounce back today against the Twins, who had their number the entire season, avoiding the sweep.
And now Greg Holland is 10 for 10 in save opportunities since being named closer after the Jonathan Broxton trade. So Luis Mendoza, he qualified for the win. He pitched well in 5 innings, but the game was tied after he departed. And so the winning pitcher is Francisco Bueno, with the save going to Greg Holland. And another big game for David Lowe. He has 2 hits in each of his first 2 big league games. He's down on the field with Joel.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. We do have a couple of guests. We'll start with David Lowe and then move our way over to Tony Abreu. David, second Major League game, second straight two-hit game. What has this experience been like for you in making your Major League debut this weekend?
Oh, it's been ecstatic. I mean, you can't ask for better fans in KC. I know that for sure, especially today. Get everybody out here. But no, it's been awesome. It's been a long ride, but you know what? I'm glad to be here.
I know you have the excitement and the emotions as you're standing at first base with Joe Mauer after your first big league hit. Are you able to settle in at some point here? We see the hustle double. At what point does this just become a game?
Man, to be honest, I don't even remember my first hit. It was a total blur. But Joe was, class act. He was just congratulating me and stuff. So I'm pretty excited.
All right, how about having your family here? They all came in, long drive from Ohio. We had the chance to talk to them during the game, along with your college roommate and college quarterback. What has it meant to see them up there in the stands going through this journey with you?
It means a lot. You can't put into words how much it really means. And, I love you guys, and, thanks for coming out.
David, great job, great start. Looking forward to much more to come.
All right, thank you.
All right, that is David Lowe. Let's bring in Tony Abreu with a little bit of help from Brian Pena. And, Tony, back on that last road trip, we saw you with a big 0-2 hit to deliver the RBI. How about again today?
Afuera en el road trip tuviste un buen RBI. ¿Qué tú crees del juego de hoy?
Bueno, fue un buen juego y, ¿sabes? Yo estoy tratando de poner la bola en juego y la oportunidad que se me ha dado la he aprovechado.
It was a great game for me. I'm trying to take advantage of my opportunity, and I'm very happy that we won, and I'm very happy that I could help.
3 RBIs ties a career high, but I want to also ask you about the defense. How comfortable, how good do you feel at second base?
3 carreras impulsadas te empatan a ti tu promedio. ¿Qué tú crees de la defensiva tuya?
Bueno, hasta ahora las dos cosas me han salido bien, ¿tú entiendes? Eso es cuestión de trabajo y la verdad es que me siento, ¿sabes? Me siento bien, gracias a Dios, y seguir trabajando fuerte.
So far, I've been seeing both pretty good, defense and offense, and I'm feeling pretty good. But I have to thank God, and I need to keep working hard and trying to get better.
Tony, great job with the RBIs and the defense. Brian, thanks for the help in the translation. Good stuff from Tony as well as David Lowe. We go back upstairs now to Ryan.
Okay, thank you, Joel. I said Francisco Bueno. Tim Collins is the winning pitcher. Greg Holland gets the save, and a big game for Tony Abreu. 3 hits, 3 RBIs. The Royals win 6-4. We'll be right back.